All right, welcome to our Christmas episode. This is Greg Richter. I'm joined this week by my wife, Laura Axelrod. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And it's the Christmas episode, but I want to have a disclaimer. If you're listening this week with young children, and you don't want them to hear certain things, maybe you want to listen later with them not listening. And don't worry, it's not about the first thing you think it's about. It's not about that, but it's about something else. It's about gift giving and where they come from. So if you don't want them to hear that discussion, listen later by yourself. So what we want to discuss is the jolly old elf and
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus and the North Pole and giving gifts from there and a Christian perspective on that. And some people don't like to talk about Santa Claus, and some people do who are Christians, but some people who are not. But mostly we're talking about Christians. I grew up, parents telling me about Santa Claus, and when I became a Christian when I was 19, I just didn't want to tell kids about Santa Claus, and that was just a personal thing with me, and it still is. And I just determined that I was just never going to tell a kid there was a Santa Claus. But on the same token, that's between a parent and a kid. And so I've also never told a kid that there is not a Santa Claus, because that's none of my business. So like if I ask a kid, if I see a kid that's like I just say, "What are you getting for Christmas?" You know, if that conversation comes up, I just say, "What are you getting for Christmas?" But if their parent says, "Hey, tell Uncle Greg what you're getting what Santa's bringing you for Christmas," I don't correct them and say, no, it's not Santa's. That's your mom and dad. As I don't do that business, because that's just mean and terrible. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because the teacher, what was it, last week? There was a substitute teacher somewhere who told an entire group of first grade students that there was no Santa Claus, no Easter Bunny, no Tooth Fairy, and I think she got fired, which I think she should have gotten fired. I feel bad for anybody getting fired, but that's pretty bad. That's just not your place to tell other people's children. You know, even if you were the actual teacher of that class, that's none of your business to be telling other people's children of that age, 6 and 7-year-old kids, there's no Santa Claus and whatnot. That's just horrible. You can jump in anytime here. And
you're on a roll. I think I just keep going.
Yeah. But that's just none of your business, even if that was your actual class. That's not even her. That was not even her class. She's the substitute teacher, and she's doing that. But so that's just mean and horrible. I don't know if she had a problem or what, or if she's just like a mean person. I don't know, but that's just horrible, because you can't take that. You can't take it back. What are you going to do? Like, yeah, well, now that teacher, I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe mom and dad can get each mom and dad can get each kid home and say, well, you know, that teacher was she was just blah, blah. You know, I don't know. Maybe they can get it all back, but I don't know. That seems like a catch you can't put back in the bag. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I just figured I would let you go. You clearly feel very strongly.
I do feel very strongly about it. Even though I feel very strongly that I don't think children should be told there's a Santa Claus. But I mean, I'm fighting against, I don't know about centuries, but definitely decades of cultural whatever, you know.
Indoctrination.
Yeah, not indoctrination, but just you know.
You don't like Christmas trees either.
No, I don't, and I'm just, you know, but at the same time, I'm not fighting it. I'm just not participating. I'm non-participatory, and I'm not going to get involved in an argument about it. I'm just not gonna participate. And like I said, but part of my thing is like there's the argument, which sounds like a good argument. It's like, well, if you tell your kids there's a Santa and an Easter Bunny and a Tooth Fairy, and then when they find out there isn't, those things don't exist, and then you told them there's a God, then they're going to think, well, were you lying about that? And there's probably examples of that happening, but
I never thought that.
I never thought that either. So I mean, so it's like, I don't know. That seems like those are different levels.
Did you believe in Santa growing up, though?
I did believe. See, that's what I'm saying. I believed in Santa growing up, and I've told you this story, I think, but of course I haven't told the podcast listening audience. I don't know what year this was. I probably went too long believing in Santa and everything, and the Easter Bunny. But this is what my parents did. So this is like the Saturday night before Easter. They sent my younger sister to bed, who was like 4 years younger than me. She gets sent to bed the Saturday night before Easter, and Greg's dutifully going to go to bed too. And they're like, no, you stay up. So okay, so I stay up, and they sit me at the kitchen table, and then my mom gets out a pot and puts water in it and puts it on the stove, and starts boiling water. And then my dad and my mom sit down, and my dad and mom sit down at the table, and they get out a bunch of bowls, and then they pull out the egg dye, and they start mixing up the water. They boil the eggs, and they start mixing up dye, and they set a bowl in front of me, and they didn't tell me anything. They just started mixing up dye, and we're going to dye eggs. And what are we doing? We're dyeing eggs. And then they bring out the Easter basket for my sister and the Easter basket for me, and they set them on the table, and they've got the candy in there, and then we're just going to boil the eggs and dye the eggs and add that to the basket that's got all of the little chocolate bunny in it and all the little candies.
They said that the Easter Bunny dyed the eggs? Did you grow up thinking these?
Oh, yeah, you just got the eggs. You just woke up in the morning and the Easter Bunny had left.
But that the Easter Bunny actually died. That Easter, I didn't grow up like that at all. Your Easter Bunny was like.
Oh yeah, he did the whole business there.
Your Easter Bunny was hard working.
Oh yeah, so he did the whole thing, and so but that's how they told. They didn't actually. I don't know if they just didn't have the guts to tell me or what. They weren't going to tell me. They're just going to let me figure it out. They just let the wheels turn in my head, and so. So they didn't tell me anything. We're just sitting there dyeing eggs, and I'm sitting there, and I figured it. They start sitting the stuff out, and I realized it. So finally, I just go. So there's no Easter Bunny, and they just get big grins on their face, and they just laugh like, no, ha ha ha. It's like, okay, so I just keep dyeing eggs, and then I'm like, a couple of minutes later, like, so there's no Santa Claus either. So this is how I find out there's no Santa Claus or Easter Bunny.
Well, no wonder you feel so strongly about it.
And then I think I figured out there's also no Tooth Fairy, and I don't know if I said that or if I just thought that. So I guess no Tooth Fairy as well. That was like later. It was like no, but I never added on no God either. So I guess it was all good.
Because the Santa Claus, they've never represented Santa Claus as being God. I mean, God.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that the argument is people will say
there are no churches to Santa Claus.
I understand that, but I mean, there's like this whole there's the whole argument against telling your kids about these mythological Santa, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy is that when they find out they're not real and that their parents lied to them about it, then the fear is that. Well, you must have lied. You also say there's this God. I can't see God either. I can't see, and Santa and the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, all have these attributes of God.
I never thought of it that way.
They can see you. Yeah. Santa sees you when you're sleeping. He knows if you're good or bad, and he rewards you or gives you. He won't bring you. He'll give you a lump of coal if you're. So if you're bad, he won't give you presents. And so
is it an issue that Santa has God-like qualities or God has Santa-like qualities?
About what? The reason I oppose?
Well, just in general.
Well,
easy
my
to
issue is just that you're lying to your kids. Man, see, I don't even that's a lot. I don't know. You'll have to ask somebody else who was opposed to this. I think most of the thing is that most people are that you're opposed. My issue is just that you're lying to kids. You're lying to somebody.
I did feel lied to when I found out. I found out.
I felt lied to as well.
I felt lied to, but I never connected it with God. I mean,
No,
that's just
I didn't
completely-
either, but I did felt lied to, and I felt deceived,
Yeah.
and so maybe that's my whole thing. Is like I'm just not going to lie to anybody.
You're still pretty bitter about it.
No, I'm not bitter. I'm just not going to lie. I understand it, and I think it's funny or whatever. But it's like, I'm not going to lie to a kid. So my whole thing was like when I got married, and now we're married, and we ended up we got married later in life. We didn't have kids, so this was not an issue. But I didn't know at the time, like, how old was I going to be when I got married? Would we have
Christmas
kids?
tree is more of an issue.
And then, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, so we didn't have kids anyway. But my deal was going to be, I wasn't going to tell my own kids there was no Santa. But if my wife, their mother, wanted, and we had kids, I was just not going to say anything about it. I was going to do the same thing I do with all other kids. I just wasn't going to say there's a Santa. But if their mother wanted to say Santa, I just was going to stay out of it, and I was going to do exactly what I do with all other kids. I was just going to not.
Going to be
and then when they found out there was no Santa, I said, "Hey, that's Mom that lied to you, not me. So you can be like,
you're going to pin it on me."
Whoever their mom was. So
well, that would be me.
Yeah. So
you were going to pin it on me.
If we'd met earlier, had kids. So. I wasn't going to pin it on you, but it was.
Yeah, you were. You were
but
totally
I wasn't going to pin it. They would have pinned it on you because I still wasn't going to say anything. I was like, hey, my mom and dad both told me there's a Santa. They would figure out, hey, Mom told me there's a Santa, and if they got to thinking about it, say, wait a minute. Their wheels start turning. Years later, they're going to think, wait a minute. Now that I think of it, Dad never told me there was a Santa.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! You were totally going to pin it on me.
Nah, they were going to do it. They were going to pin it on you. They would have pinned it on you.
You were going to make sure of that. Oh
nah, they would have figured it out.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyway.
Well, I did feel lied to briefly.
Yeah.
And it was a neighbor who told me that Santa didn't exist. And my mother probably would still say that she was angry about that. But, I did feel lied to, but then it was just kind of like a little disappointment. It didn't ruin my life.
No.
I mean, tooth fairy, who actually nobody thinks there's a tooth fairy.
I thought there was a tooth fairy. All the way up to the...
This could explain a lot.
Yeah, maybe. That's my whole thing with my money management. See?
What?
She actually brought you money. She actually gave you money.
She did.
Yeah.
She did, but the tooth fairy and then the Easter bunny, we just got these baskets. That's all I really cared about. And my mother was kind of slack. She was a slacker about the Easter bunny. They never dyed eggs. I mean, we ended up with these baskets, and I always ended up with the yellow one because my sister loved the pink one. I still have a resentment about that one. I still have my Easter basket upstairs, and my mother sometimes would buy the candy like right in front of us. So I had no emotional investment in Easter bunny, So it really wasn't that big a deal. I still can't believe you were going to pin it on me, though.
The kids were going to pin it on you. They were going to figure it out that I wasn't going to pin it. I wasn't going to say your mother lied. They were going to figure it out that I didn't lie. That's what was going to happen.
What about the Christmas tree?
What about the Christmas tree? I just don't put up the Christmas tree. That's just like I'm not a druid. If people want to put it up, that's their business.
We can't.
And my deal was going to be, I was like, I don't put up a Christmas tree. And when I got married, I said, hey, I figure whoever I marry says she's going to want to put up a Christmas tree, probably. So my deal would be, if you want to put up a tree, you put it up.
Yeah.
And my deal is I'll take it down because I didn't want it up to start with.
So, honestly, we haven't had a Christmas tree that often, only because we have cats.
Right.
And we don't have one this year because our kitten will eat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's about 1.5 years, so she's not really a kitten, but she will eat the tree.
Mm-hmm. Still not old enough.
Still not old enough. And she will probably climb the tree and toss it down.
Yeah. So she's on my side on that issue, but not on all others. So.
Oh, yeah. We haven't told them, though.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway.
So,
and
I walk away from this conversation thinking to myself, You're going to pin it on me.
No. There was one of the other Santa thing I wanted to bring up, which is a serious issue.
Yeah.
Is like I did see like a post on Facebook about if you are going to tell your kids about Santa, there was a pretty a serious thing about like if you give your kids like expensive gifts like iPods and that kind of thing, you should like maybe not tell your kids that those expensive gifts are coming from Santa, because like if they know kids who are less fortunate, come from less fortunate families, and they see kids getting like iPods or whatever from Santa, and their families can't afford to give them the expensive gifts, then like they're asking, why didn't Santa bring me this? So maybe, just tell them mom and dad are giving them the expensive gifts, and then tell them that the cheaper stuff comes from Santa.
That's a good idea.
And so that's probably
yeah.
Probably I thought that was a good idea. So
that is, and if you're of a certain age like you and I are, maybe you remember designer jeans. I think they were $30, and I could never get designer jeans because they were too expensive.
And I never got them because I didn't want them. But but I wanted other things. When I was a kid, I wanted Hot Wheels, and I couldn't get Hot Wheels. I just got the little cheap things. So little cheap cars that were die cast, and they were just like, I don't like them. My friends got the Hot Wheels cars because they were the cool ones.
I wanted a sit and spin.
Oh yeah.
And my mother wouldn't give it to me because she said I'd throw up. So
it wasn't too expensive. It would just make you sick.
It would just make me sick. I also couldn't get a guinea pig because she thought the dog would eat it.
Well, that might be true.
What couldn't you get other than Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels, I don't remember specifically, but
yeah. Well, I remember all of them.
Yeah.
And I, maybe someday. Well, I did get the designer jeans, but they weren't as expensive because nobody wanted them.
Right.
As you said.
Well, on that note, anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, I guess Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year. Thanks for listening. You can keep up with my latest on Twitter or Medium.com. Look under my name, Greg Richter, or under my username, @Owen2. That's OWENTEW.